Hello, I'm Sheila Myers. I'm an Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and this is my first video, so hopefully we'll get through it. My blog that I've just recently started is Stamping Wishes, and I would love to have you follow me and see some of the cards that I'm placing out there. And the way you get to me, it's called stampingwishes.typepad.com/stamping_wishes. So this is the card that we're going to be making today. I did go ahead and do most of the stamping, just more in the fuzzy cutting to help save time so it wouldn't make the video too long. And the recipient of this card will take, and when they get it, they just pull their little cord and the girl floats up, and you can almost hear her saying happy birthday as she does. The inside of the card is following the same theme. It's love celebrating you. Happy birthday. Now this card was made with our new stamp set. It's a new hostess stamp set that you can earn by giving a party for $150 value or placing an order for $150. And you can use part of your earnings from hosting your own party to earn the hostess stamp set. So anyway, as you can see, it has so many versatile greetings that on the stamp set. You could use it for happy birthday, congratulations to a graduate, a thank you card for a teacher would be precious. Hope you feel better soon. Who wouldn't want to get balloons with a, hope you're feeling better, and celebrating that person and giving them well wishes. You have all kinds of different designs for their skirt. It almost reminds me a little bit of when I was a child and the paper dolls that we used to do, but this seems to be a lot more fun than I can remember paper dolls being. The other stamp set that I also used was Beautiful Bouquet. I used the happy birthday here from it. And then for the accenting of the balloons, I used the center one with the little dots. I thought really kind of add some characters to the balloons. I hope you can see them fairly well in the video. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to call out the measurements first, show you some of the supplies that I used, and then we'll start putting it together. The card itself is a standard 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4, and then the Mango Melody is 4 by 5 1/4. I've got 2 pieces of the Granny Apple Green, which is cut at 1 13/16 by 2.5. And then I have a Whisper White, which is cut at, this is the thick Whisper White that I'm using to make the mechanisms work a little better. And this is by 2 by 5 1/16. The girl, when I stamped her, the piece I started off with again, which was the thick Whisper White, was measuring 3 by 5. And I went ahead and stamped her, colored her feet with the our new markers for the new colors, and of course use the ivory to do the flesh tone with our stamping blends, and then fuzzy cut around her, and so yeah, that's how she was put together. The balloons themselves, I used a 1-inch circle punch for all of the balloons you see around here. And then for the largest balloon in the center, I used a 1 1/4 inch circle punch. So let's go ahead and get started with, and also these, I forgot to give you the measurements on them. We have 2 of the strips, and I just used scraps. One of them is 1 inch by about 4 inches long. The other one is 3/4 inch. And it's just a little bit shorter. I cut some of this off just before for purposes of measuring behind these circles. This particular circle was 1 3/4, and this one was 2-inch circle punch. For doing our mechanism, the base of our mechanism, I used our classic punch. And what I did was to come in and make, because you don't want to bring it down too low this way, because then the girl, she needs enough room to go this way, but when she comes down, you don't want it to be so far that she goes past this direction. So I really want it as close as we can up here. So I know that I want the measurements since this is 2 inches, you want to have it right around the 1 inch mark. That way you're in the center of it. And I would say that probably, let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 is where the peak of it would want to start. And that way we make sure that we get her high enough up without going too low. And you'll line up your classic punch with your dot there. That looks good to me. So let's go ahead and pop it. And now we have the mechanism for her to go on. And if you notice, it looks like it's pretty good because she'll slide down, and that's probably about as far as she'll go down on that. We get 2 of our pennies. If you've done one of the slider cards before, you're probably real familiar with how to place this in. So we want to put one of our pennies underneath, and then I try and line it up where that the sides of the dimension that are straight are going up and down, so it slides a little bit easier on that. Let's go ahead and take off our little tab there and bring our other penny into it, and slides real nicely now. And then we're going to have a string that measure right about 3 5/8, it looks like, for your pull tab. And it's probably better to cut it a little bit long because you can always trim that off. Whereas if you cut it too short and it comes down this way, for example, if I had cut it too short like this, then you don't have the pulling mechanism to work as smoothly. So let's go ahead and use some tear and tape and seal that down. If you had the time and you wanted to glue it, you could do that too, but I felt like the tear and tape was a good alternative to stabilizing the string. And this new cording is from our catalog, and it's really, really pretty. You can see the sheen on it and the shine and stuff. But it's in our catalog. It's one of our new cords, and it is 1/8 inch, and it's about 10 yards of it. So there's a lot to be done with it. Okay, so once you've got that together, you're going to want dimensionals that are on top of your penny as well, because that's what she's going to be up on top of. So let's go ahead and do that. And it's best to have it measuring down because you want to place the balloons where she's at her lowest point, and you know that she's not going to go above or below the line, but she can go up as high as you need her to go. Okay, so she's working really good, looking great. Okay, the first card I made, if you notice, I used a little bit of a kind of a grain grounding effect, and I thought it would look much nicer if we used, kind of made it look like a little bit of grass underneath her feet. So I'm gonna go ahead and sponge real quickly using the Granny Apple green, and let's go ahead and use a sponge on this. A lot of times it will have a tendency to be a little bit smoother. So let's just give her a little bit down here, not too much, because this is not the focal point down here. She is, but I did want to give her some grounding. Okay, let's see how this looks. Looks great. So I think that's just about enough. All right, so then what we want to do is the back of the mechanism piece here is going to be put up onto our foam adhesive strips. And so before we got started, if I can find the piece that I was working on, here it is, I went ahead and kind of pre-snipped them so it'd be a little bit easier for me to work with it. But when you put on your sides, I like to put my sides on first, and then we're going to put the top, but we're going to, because this little piece here is going to come through the back area here, and I want it to be able to come between my foam so that it works a little bit easier in that aspect. So let's go ahead and get these sides on. Yeah, looks like I may have cut it a little bit too short there. Let's go ahead and cut another little tab here. A little bit long this time, but that's okay. I guess the paper came off with it there. So we'll just line that up and then snip it off. Okay, and then for the back side of that, let's see what we've got here. Bottom here. And then as you can see, your girl's going to fit right next to it over here. And we'll have a nice little ridge of for her to be balanced against on there. Let's go ahead and put us a dimensional on these circles and get them in there. Okay. And then we can take, and what I like to do is just use adhesive to line this one up, and I just line it up on top of the other one, and then again use adhesive straight onto this portion, and then we'll use a dimensional to put the piece together. So let's go ahead and this looks about right here. Perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that one in. And here we go. Okay, and let's go ahead and take off these pieces and adhere this one on down. I usually have my trash bucket near me, and I left it on my counter, so I'm having to just throw trash everywhere. Okay, looks like we got one more piece here. Looks like I got them all. Okay. So let's go ahead and balance this on. Before you press down, be sure you've got it where you want it to be, because you don't want to be pulling it up after you get that down. So that looks just about right there. So let's go ahead and put her down. Okay. Very nice. Okay, so this is probably a little bit longer than we want, so I'll go ahead and trim off just a tad on it. Okay, so now all we have to do is finish the inside of the card, and I went ahead and I'm using the Stamparatus on this, and went ahead and got somewhat started on it. And then we'll go ahead and finish off these little pieces that I've lined up here. So this particular, the skirt is done in the Granny Apple Green. So we'll just go ahead and see if I can do this without, because I've got 3 different colors going on here. So we'll put that on there, and then we'll get some of the memento for for this happy birthday. Let's do the memento. And then I think for the let's celebrate, I may, because it's getting a little tight. Let's see if I can transfer that ink on. I don't know, that's not, look, it looks like it's getting in between the stamp. We don't want that to happen. So tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stamp to make things a little bit easier. We'll just go ahead and use the black as well there. Okay. Let's see if I got this all lined up. Go ahead and press down when you're using. If you haven't gotten this Stamparatus yet, or your Stamparatus yet, oh my goodness, you're going to absolutely love it when it gets to you. It really lines everything up real nicely. You can do different levels. In this case, I had all my stamps. I don't know if you can see it. I had all the stamps up here, and I had them going every different direction. But it was a nice way to store them as well, so that I wasn't having to take them out of the container and back in here. I just pulled them all out, everything that I wanted to use, and had them ready to place and position. So again, I love the new Stamparatus. I'm using it on almost everything that I do. So again, on this one, we'll do a little bit of coloring and then some bling, and then we should be able to wrap this up fairly quickly. So let's get some of this out of my way here. Again, we're going to give her some grounding of a little bit of grass around her feet. And let's go ahead and pull this so we don't mess up my new sheet of grid paper I just put out there. And you don't have to come all the way across. You can kind of just narrow it down, put it more on the level of focus around her feet. Okay, I think that looks good like that. I think I'm happy with that one. Okay, and let's go ahead and color in her flesh tones. Again, using the blends. When we got our blends back, I know that some of y'all may have known that a few years back we had them, but there was an issue with the manufacturer, and so we lost the use of our blends because they were drying out. Well, then they got a new manufacturer, got it all a great line of our colors back in, and I'm just totally tickled with it. I absolutely love coloring and blends, so I've been trying to get all of them back ordered again, and can't wait until we can get some of the new colors ordered as well. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of bling accent here. I thought her belt needed a little bit of a small bling right there in the buckle portion of it. And then I felt that the flowers also need a little bit of bling. I tried to use the a little bit bigger rhinestones on the larger circles, and then the size a little bit smaller. As you can see, I use a lot of my rhinestones. I'm running a little bit short. I would have used a few of the smaller ones. So I think that looks great like it is, and will be great as an accent in our front of our card. And then we'll add our bling to the front, and we will be done. Okay, let's go ahead and line this one in. Looks good there, so let's go ahead and put that down. And then let's go ahead and place the bling onto this one here. Thought it needed a little something up there, so we'll put a couple of them there. And let's go with the little smaller ones. And just bring them down a little bit there. And since this one also has a little buckle in the front, I think she should have a little rhinestone on her waistband as well. Okay. All right, so this is our card, and I hope that you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll be adding some more down the road. So until next time, happy stamping.